Hey, this is Jerry Cantrell, Sao Paulo. You're listening to 89 FM, Radio Rock.
Hi, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm all right.
You're going to perform here in São Paulo, November 12th. So what can the fans expect from the show?
I'll be playing some songs that I wrote. I guess.
Fair enough.
That's what you can expect. Yeah. I know that's a surprise. You might have expected me to do some, spoken word or maybe juggling or something, but I'm gonna do something really unusual and play my music. Yeah.
And this is your first time coming to Brazil on your own, right? I think you played with Alice in Chains here before, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I ever did make it down to South America. I don't think so. But I might be wrong in that. But if you say so, I'll go with it.
It is. So I want to know, how is your connection with the Brazilian fans? Like, what do you recall from your experience here, and what do you expect from this time?
It's always fun coming down to South America in general, and the fans are great, and each country and city, when you travel, that's kind of the cool thing about being a musician. You get to see a lot of the world and a lot of different cultures, and it's really cool to see kind of music speak to all of them. You know what I mean? And your music has traveled there ahead of you in a lot of cases, or in most cases, and before you're actually able to get down there and play for somebody. And so it's just always interesting, and it's not some places. Generally, wherever you live in the world, there's a whole world out there that that generally most folks don't really get to go see a whole lot, and because of my job, I do. So it's cool.
Now let's talk about your upcoming album, I Want Blood. More specific, the single Afterglow. What can you tell me about the creation of this song and what it represents on the context of the album?
Well, I just think it's a real cornerstone song on the album, and I'm really proud of the record as a whole. I think it's a good body of work, and each of the songs individually is really stand strong on their own. But then there's a couple of special ones, and I think the two that I've released so far, Vilified and Afterglow, are two songs that might be even a little more special. So, I had a really enjoyable experience, and it was really had a fun time doing Brighton and touring around the world on that. And so I wanted to do another one back to back, and I jumped into putting this record together, I'm really surprised and happy it turned out, as well as it did, and also glad to that it took me in a different direction. I think you always do better than trying to force the issue and just follow the music where it wants to take you. So
amazing. Also, I can't forget to mention the song Vilify, because we got some cool contributions there, right? Like Duff McKagan, Rob Trujillo, Mark Borden. How was working with all of them on the same track?
Yeah, well, I mean, on Vilified, that was Gil Sharon, myself, and Robert Trujillo, and I think Vincent Jones played some keyboards on that too. On Afterglow, that's Duff McKagan and Gil Sharon and myself, and Vincent Jones, and I think Lola Collette sings on that one as well. Not sure if Greg Pachado sang on that one. I think Lola did, but it's always great. It's always amazing working with talented people at such a high level. They've got their respective bands that I'm fans of, and we're friends, so. It's never a guarantee that, your buddy who, has a cool band like you have, when you get together, you're going to make good music together. Mm-hmm. It's not a guarantee that's going to work, but we've had the experience multiple times. This is the second record I've worked on with Mike Borden and Robert, and I don't know, this is like the fourth record I've done with Duff, between his records and mine, so Gil Sharon and I have worked on a couple. Lola and Greg and I have worked on a couple. So I like working with working with people that I've worked with before, I guess that's all I can really say. It's an amazing experience to work outside of your normal band that you're associated with, and most people think of you there. But putting yourself outside of that for a little while to create is both exhilarating and it can be a little scary too, because it's not your normal safe little band that that every in and all the ins and outs of, I guess. So putting yourself into some uncomfortable positions, or maybe even some slightly unsure situations, is a good way to grow. So that's all, at the end of the day, really, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get better. Maybe hopefully get better at your craft. Try to become a better producer, a better writer, a better guitar player, a better singer. And I think on this record and the last two records, actually, I've made some progress on both, on all of those levels of my playing.
Yeah, they're awesome. And since you mentioned this album, I Want Blood, it succeeds the album Brighten. That is a very acclaimed piece of work of yours. Do you feel like any kind of pressure to exceed the expectations from the fans, or are you just happy with the reception so far?
Yeah, I mean, people seem to be digging it, and I got a really great reaction to Brighton, and we've dropped 2 songs out there now, and this is always I think the funnest time for me, or probably for most artists, is you've spent a really good chunk of time working hard on this thing, and so there's just a handful of people that know what it is. You know what I mean? And you've heard it so many times over and over and over and over again that you kind of reach a point where I don't need to listen to this for a while. I've heard it too many
Fair
times.
enough.
But nobody else nobody else has. Nobody else has. So now's the time you get re-excited about it, is when you see other people get excited about it, when it starts to get out there and people start talking about it and reacting and sharing it around, and the ultimate test is when you play it live. And so we kind of touched on that earlier. Those songs have traveled to Brazil before I am going to be there. So it'll be interesting to see the connection that people already have with those 2 songs when I play them live, and maybe a couple of the other ones. So we just got off the road for about 7 weeks with Bush and Candlebox, and we were playing both those songs live, and the audience has really responded both very well to them, and I really enjoyed playing them.
So in the 90s, you kind of helped shape a sound of a generation. How do you feel about the impact of the music, especially when it comes to younger fans discovering your work?
Yeah, that's a really cool thing about music. When we started out, with a crowd that was roughly our own age, maybe a little older too.
Yeah.
And then as you go by decade by decade, a lot of those people that were with you from the get-go, they grow with you, and they have families and they have kids, and you see a couple of generations deep full of fans now, and it's pretty cool. I think it was in Las Vegas recently, and was able to meet a young kid. I don't think he was more than maybe 12 or 13 or something like that. And he knew all the stuff inside out, and he's a really talented guitar player. He's a rocker. And he's got a real deep connection to the band. So that's the cool thing about music. It's got that life of its own. It's going to do what it does, and it's going to connect to whoever connects to it. It's going to find its audience, and if it's something that's got it's something that lasts, then it's going to get passed down, to generations. It's always there to be picked up, So.
Thank you so much, Jerry, for your time. It's such a pleasure talking to you. I hope you have a great album release, and I'll see you in Brazil.
Thank you.